Hey guys, what happens when you take probably one of the best two color combos in Magic and you add artifacts and you build a commander deck out of it? Let's talk about it. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Commander Deck List Breakdown. Commander List Breakdown. No. Decks broke down by. Welcome back to Commander Decks built by your boy, Sean. That worked. Anyways, guys, today we are going to be talking about one of my newest Commander decks as well as one of my favorites at the moment. Just because it can stick with the lower level brackets of Commander decks as well as the high level brackets, depending on how I play. And there's honestly two ways to build this or build around this commander, and the way I built it is all about tokens, more specifically constructs, or depending on what era of Magic you played, constructs. Yeah, that's right. We have some crazy things in here, and in all honesty, this is an IP nightmare. There's so many different sets in here that I just love and have really built around that are super duper fun. So the cards you're going to see are their base copies. Might not be the ones, but I'll tell you which ones I have because I'm going to look at them on Moxfield. I thought about wearing my glasses, but the reflection right now on the glasses was going to be too much. It was already too much for me when I was looking at OBS. So anyways, guys, if you're liking these videos, leave a like on this video, please. It lets me know you love it, you want to see more of it, or you're just nice and you just like the video, please. Also, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our future videos. We got some cool stuff planned. Also, turn on post notifications so you know when those get uploaded. You get a little alert that says, hey, valid uploaded. And that's what we love to see. Because I'm going to tell you right now, within the next few weeks, we're going to have some fun. A lot of fun. Anyways, I say we get right into the deck list. Right off the rip, we're starting with the commander, and it's Alloy, Savior of Meridian. I hope I said that correctly. I didn't play this game. Yeah. But this is from the PlayStation Secret Lair. Alloy is 3, a green and a blue, or Simic. Legendary human warrior with vigilance and reach. That's a 3/5. And her ability says, in you all things are possible. I think that's what she sounds like. That was probably worse. Anyways, whenever one or more artifact creatures you control attack, discover X, where X is the greatest power among them, which means you're going to exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card with that mana value or less. All right? And you can cast it without paying its mana cost or put it into your hand. But the rest in the bottom in a random order, it's Cascade, but with Ixalan became Discover. So Cascade's still around, but Alloy is super cool. So the reason why I say there's two ways to build around this is you can go around the Discover and you can put in some artifacts that do some crazy stuff. I was like, the fan's blowing my hair. It felt like something was in my hair. You can build around the Discover aspect where I know when I was talking to Zane about this deck, he was also building one. That's where he was going. He ended up not building it because I built it faster because I had the cards and the money. Anyways, so the way I built this, like I said, is around the token aspect. Now there are some token cards in here that I found out about that I'm thinking about adding, but as of right now, the deck I'm showing y'all is what it is right now, ready to play. Boom. So that's Alloy. You know I love my Planeswalkers, so we had to put in Tezzeret, Cruel Captain. 3, whenever an artifact you control enters, put a loyalty counter on Tezzeret. Tezzeret for me is huge. Just because I get to untap target artifact or creature. If it's an artifact creature, put a +1, so I'm gaining more counters on things. But more specifically, I get to search my library for an artifact card with mana value 1 or less, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. I'm not going to lie to you. I think I only have a few actual artifacts, but I do have artifact lands. So that will also go for it because artifact lands do count for 0 mana. Even though it's not castable or anything. It just says an artifact card, so I can go search for a land if I need a land or anything of that nature. So it's real helpful for ramp that way. And then you get an emblem with at the beginning of combat on your turn, put 3+1/+1 counters on target artifact you control. If it's not a creature, it becomes a 0/0 robot artifact creature. So, not necessarily a construct, but more ways to put more counters on things. And especially if I get that emblem, I have it the entire game, whether Tezzeret's on the field or not. So I love it. All right, I have about 27 creatures in here. Obviously, all, for the most part, all artifacts. I have artificers in here as well. So let's get right off the rip. Cityscape Leveler. Now, the card I have is the Avatar one. I pulled it. I loved it. Boom. And the reason why I love it is trample whenever you cast a spell and whenever this creature attacks, destroy up to one target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a tapped Power Stone token. I love it because it is another way for me to destroy something like Meteor Golem, which is in this deck, but it's super sick. If there's a problem, I can just cast 8 with other cards in here. It's pretty easy to do. So it's a great artifact, and I can discover into it, which if I discover into it, then it's a free way to destroy something, especially a blocker, because the discover, whenever I declare attacks, you can have the blockers, I can destroy a creature. It's great. It's a way for my artifacts to go through. So after that, we got Cyberdrive Awakener. Flying. Other artifact creatures you control have flying. This is huge. Who doesn't like flying? A lot of people don't play flying. People play reach. A lot of people kind of play reach. But when this creature enters, each non-creature artifact you control becomes a 4/4 artifact creature until end of turn. So I kind of look at this as a win con, especially if people aren't playing anything flying. I can knock a player out very easily. And yeah, it's a super dope way just for my stuff to get through. So we got a big boy, Dark Steel Colossus. It's an 11 for an 11/11, trample, indestructible. If Dark Steel Colossus would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal Dark Steel Colossus and shuffle it into owner's library instead. Yeah, this is one of my bigger artifacts that lets me discover for, let's say, Cityscape Leveler or another 11 or anything of that nature. So it's a great card. And I just love the trample indestructible fact. And if it does get removed for any reason, I'm able to put it in my library. So I love it because then I get to shuffle, find something. It's awesome. Diamond Weapon. Now this has been this was an underrated card in my opinion for Final Fantasy. But it's 7 and 2 green. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each permanent card in your graveyard. Has reach and immune. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to Diamond Weapon. It's not gonna die. Not gonna die from combat, so I can be blocking with it. I think I stopped Hudson. Now I did realize after the game that I played this wrong and I should have died. But he had a life gain trample, like huge creature, and I blocked it and I said, okay, I prevent all combat damage. Now that was dealt to Diamond Weapon. So the excess trample damage should have came through. I should have lost the game. I realized after the fact I always debrief a game. I was like, wow, that was really good. I should have lost. So props to HUD. He should have won, but at the time, that's what happened. So yeah, it's huge. Great card for me to, block everything. Now, Emery, Lurker of the Lock. Merfolk Wizard. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each artifact you control. When Emery, Lurker of the Lock enters the battlefield, mill 4 cards, and then I can tap Emery to choose a target artifact card in my graveyard, and I may cast it that turn. It's pretty much graveyard recursion for my artifacts, and that's what I need because then I can trigger the discover aspect or on an attack. Sorry, But more importantly, I get to trigger another card, my Simulacrum Synthesizer, that lets me make constructs. So that is ultimately what I'm going for, is just bringing back those 3 costs to trigger my Ethereum and build my robot army. Next up, Ethereum Sculptor. Pretty standard in a blue artifact deck. 2 in a blue artifact spells you cost 1 less to cast. It's a artificer. Cheap artifacts. We love that. So now this is FAS BOR 7 Horus. It's Blightsteel Colossus, but it's the secret lair version of Blightsteel Colossus. Trample, Infect, Indestructible. And if it was put into a graveyard, reveal it, shuffle it into my library instead. So Blightsteel Colossus, huge game changer. If it gets through poison counters, I don't think I do have a Rogue's Passage. So if I Rogue's Passage Blightsteel, you're dead. So super good, super fun. Normally this is a kill on site because it is a 12. But with my Ethereum Sculptor, if I Darksteel Colossus and I discover into it, it does cost 1 less, so I may cast it. Yeah, I think that's how that works. If not, let me know down below. I would be interested to find out. It probably doesn't, but yeah. So next up, Foundry Inspector. 3/3/2 artifact spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Any way that I can get my artifact spells to be less, I'm going to find a way. So Ethereum Sculptor with Foundry Inspector, they cost 2 less. Boom. Then I can start playing artifacts, 2 cost artifacts for free. Why not? I love it. Iron Spider Stark upgrade. Vigilance. Put a +1/+1 counter on each artifact, creature, and or vehicle you control. 2, remove 2 +1/+1 counters, draw a card. It has card draw, but most importantly, that +1/+1. Now with the new Blight and Wither, I think was the old mechanic, but Blight. I faced Blight and it essentially did a board wipe for me. But since I tapped Iron Spider and I have another one in here, I'm just blanking on it. When I find it, that lets me add counters. I was able to keep a few of my creatures alive. So, yeah, it's real nice. Next up, Kappa Cannoneer. Ward 4. When Kappa Cannoneer or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Kappa Cannoneer, and it can't be blocked this turn. So, sorry, there's a lot of wind, and I heard a weird noise on my window. So, essentially, going to be putting a lot of +1/+1 counters on things. I'll probably be putting it on other creatures just because, or no, it's on that creature. The bigger I can make Kappa Cannoneer unblockable, the better it is. So, after that, Karn Legacy Reforged. Karn Legacy Reforged power and toughness are equal to the greatest mana value among artifacts you control, which is huge. It could be a 12/12 with Blightsteel or, less. So, at the beginning of your upkeep, add colorless for each artifact you control. This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phase in. So, more mana. Essentially, it's a ramp card for me to cast artifacts. The more artifacts I have, the bigger my constructs are. And the more I'm able to cast, the more constructs I can have. So it goes hand in hand really well. So I love it. Liberator, Urza's Battle Thopter. Flash, flying, you may cast colorless spells and artifact spells as though they had flash. Whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast that spell is greater than Liberator's power, put a +1/+1 counter on Liberator. This was huge whenever I needed to create blockers. If I swung out, don't have it, well, guess what? I can play a 3 cost, and boom, I have another construct that's able to block. So this one was huge for me, as well as just the +1/+1. Love putting counters on things. Master of Ethereum. A Master of Ethereum's power and toughness are equal to the number of artifacts you control, so it's another construct, but other artifact creatures you control get +1/+1. So, just building a big army with counters. Metalwork Colossus, probably the worst Colossus, I would say, between the three. Just because it costs, yes, it does cost less, X less to cast, where X is total mana value of non artifact creatures. So, yeah, you can get a free 10/10, but it doesn't have trample, it doesn't have indestructible, and it doesn't have, whenever you get it, shuffle it into your library. I have to sacrifice 2 artifacts to bring it back. So, I mean, that one sucks, but a free 10/10 is always nice. So, Omega Heartless Evolution, a legendary artifact creature robot from Final Fantasy, has wave cannon. When Omega enters, for each opponent, tap up to 1 target non-land permanent that opponent controls, put X stun counters on it, on each of those permanents, and you gain X life, where X is the number of non-basic lands you control. Now, just for you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I control 20 non-basic lands. I doubt I'll get that high, but being able to put in 4 or 5 stun counters on something that I know is going to be a problem, especially if it has a tap ability, is nice. So, love it. Underrated card. Again, artifacts can count for this with another card that you'll see here in a little bit. Next up, Ornithopter of Paradise. Ramp, flying 2 cost, 0/2, add 1 mana of any color. I just need it to let me cast stuff, essentially. Ovaya, Automech Artisan. Now, each creature that's attacking one of your opponents has trample. Giving artifacts trample, especially if they're huge. Come on now. And then green and tap Ovaya. You may put a creature or vehicle card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you put an artifact onto the battlefield this way, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. So imagine I do that with Blightsteel Colossus. A great way to cheat out Blightsteel Colossus, and then instead of it being an 11/11, it's a 13/13 with Infect. So, yeah, Ovaya, to me, is an underrated card from Aether Drift. I didn't quite. I had the full art borderless one that I just gave to Nate because I was like, it's our Aether Drift card. Here you go. And then now playing it, I'm like, oh man, this is nasty. So yeah, Ovaya, go hard in the paint, for real. After that, Padim, Console of Innovation, another Artificer. Artifacts you control have hexproof. You know, if I have a crazy construct or Blightsteel and someone goes, hey, swords, well, guess what? It has hexproof, can't target it. So it's real nice. And then also the card draw aspect. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control the artifact with the highest mana value or tied for it, you draw a card. So I love to draw cards. I'm a blue player at heart. Any way I can draw cards, I'm going to put it in there. Phyrexian Metamorph 3 and Phyrexia, which can be played either with a mountain or not a mountain. Golly, I'm sorry. I'm building it as a deck at the moment. But an island or 2 life. You may have this creature enter as a copy of any artifact or creature on the battlefield, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. So depending on what I'm going for, I'll probably copy Simulacrum Synthesizer and just start creating a bunch of constructs. Oh, there's so much I can do with it. I think I even have Lightning Greaves. I do have Lightning Greaves. I can do double Lightning Greaves. Boom, 2 constructs come in. Both get Lightning Greaves. Both have haste. Let's go. Yeah, so much I can do with it. Solemn Simulacrum, Sad Robot. When it enters, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. Ramp. But most importantly, when it dies, you may draw a card. I remember I was asking someone, I was like, please kill this. I just want to draw a card. I was like, swing at me, please. I'm going to block with this, man, but you just have to have 2 power. Trample, I do not care. Just let me draw a card. And I drew into actually what I needed, which is the Cyclonic Rift, which is in this deck. So anyway, real nice. This was the other card. Steel Overseer. Tap, put a +1/+1 counter on each artifact creature you control. So I tap that and Iron Spider. Get +2 counters on artifact creatures. I was able to save a lot of my stuff. So it was real nice. And the fact I wasn't able to save it is because I didn't have this card out. Walls of Ba Sing Se. Legendary artifact creature wall. Has defender. Other permanents you control have indestructible. This was huge. This was huge. Very, very huge. I remember in that game, Hudson tried to board wipe. He tried to board. The order that he was doing it was going to do. He just said, "Hey, do damage." I was like, "Well, I have walls." It's like, "Oh, but hasn't other stuff have indestructible?" So I was going to do everything else then walls. So that way, uh, that's how I was going to order it. So it would have been nice. Everything would have stayed. Thought Monitor. Again, I like to draw cards. Affinity for artifacts. Flying. When Thought Monitor enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards. Give me one sec. I'm hearing weird noises, bro. It's the wind. It's the wind. Anyways, this has affinity for artifacts. Let me draw 2 cards. Why not? Oh, I have my dryer going. Squirrel thought. Anyways, let me just draw 2 cards, guys. Come on. Now, this is depending on what version they give me. Depends on the name that is going to be, but this is essentially Meteor Golem. But if it's the secret lair, Thunderjaw. When this creature enters, destroy target non-land permanent and opponent controls. Dude, huge. Now, the fact that it's a 7 cost and it's a 3/3 sucks, but any way that I can destroy a non-land permanent, it's going to be nice. It's going to be real nice. Especially if I can discover into it. Come on now. Come on now. Let's get it. So great. Ugh. 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 Anyways. Traxos, Scourge of Krug. Has trample. It's a 7/7. It's a 4 cost 7/7. When it enters the battlefield tapped and doesn't untap during your untap step. But whenever I cast a historic spell, untap Traxos. What's a historic spell? Artifact, legendaries, and sagas are historic. Yeah, I know. It's so great. Good thing this is an all artifact deck. And good thing the only saga I have is Urza's Saga. So, yeah. But no, Traxos is really good. 4 costs, 7/7. Very easy to get him untapped. So, yeah. Now, when I was talking about artifacts being tapped for mana, you already know I had to have Urza Lord High Artificer. This being off the Game Changers list is crazy to me. But Urza, 2 and 2 blue, when Urza Lord High Artificer enters the battlefield, create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. That's a lot. I control a lot. A lot. But tap an untapped artifact you control, I get to add blue. Boom. And this is crazy. Shuffle your library, then exile the top card. Until end of turn, you may play that card without paying its mana cost. The silence is deafening. You know what I mean? This is nuts. This is nuts. This is dumb. But that's why Urza's in here, because I like constructs and I like being dumb and I like creating chaos. So here's Urza. Now, I know you're probably going to get the worm coil engine. That's basic, basic worm coil engine. But yeah, worm coil engine is in here. The one I have is from the Mad Brain. The Brain Mad, whatever it is, Secret Lair. The cool one, not the Play-Doh. I wanted the Play-Doh, but this is the one they had. It's a Phyrexian worm, Death Touch and Lifelink. We love Death Touch. When it dies, create a 3/3 colorless worm with Death Touch and a 3/3 colorless worm with Lifelink. We're gonna gain life and kill stuff. I love it. I love it. Just the fact that it gets to split off is fun. Yeah. Worm coil engine, super sick. But yeah, guys, that's the creatures. I have 27 of them. Again, not all of them are artifacts. I have artificers and a merfolk, but They all have value and all synergize with the artifact aspect. And the main goal of creating a lot of constructs and swinging wide. Yeah, essentially, that's the main goal is doing that. So, we can be in green or blue. Yeah, it's a mixture of both. But sorceries, you gotta have ways to ramp. And right off the rip, we have cultivate. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put one on the battlefield tapped and the other one in your hand. Then shuffle. I like to play this card without playing a land for turn because then I get to play both, and it's nice. One's tapped, the other one's not. Ooh, good ramp, but still ramp. Right after that, fabricate. Search my library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. It's a great way to tutor. And more importantly, the fabricate that I'm looking for is there another fabricate? There is another fabricate. I want the secret lair with tails on it. I think that would be cool. I know there's also the one with the Transformers, but for the deck, for the vibes, for the IP nightmare, tails. So, Farseek. This one was from the secret lair, but search your library for a plains, island, swamp, or mountain card. Put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. I do have dual lands in here that do have the basic land type, so it's real nice. That I just get to go search for like a breeding pool. I can't think of anything else. Oh, that was breeding pool. Anyways, breeding pool. Couldn't think of anything. So it's real nice. I like doing that, or I can just go grab just a basic land. But I'm mostly going for the breeding pool. After that, Kodama's Reach. Search my library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards. Put one onto the battlefield tapped and the other one in your hand. Then shuffle. It's essentially cultivate. But it's real nice. Ramp. We love ramp. Nature's Lore. Search my library for a forest card. Put it onto the battlefield. Then shuffle. Easy money. Easy money. Basic ramp. We love it. One with the machine. Okay. Now, draw cards equal to the highest mana value among artifacts you control. Depending on what I have on the battlefield, it could be as high as 12. It could be as low as 1. You know, just depending on what I have. It is a 4 cost, so my plan, I will have other stuff out there. So, love card draw, love the aspect of that. So, it's going to get nasty. Um, and the more cards I have, the better. And whatever I get to cycle out, it's super nice. Rampant Growth. Search your library for a basic land. Put it onto the battlefield. Put it into play. Search your library for a basic land card and put it into play. Tapped. Shuffle your library afterwards. The one I have is from. Oh my gosh, which one is this from? Tempest. That looks like Tempest. Yep, Tempest. Oh my god, it's making me scroll all the way down. Yep, Tempest. I knew it. I knew it. From Tempest. So, old words, tongue tied. Shut up. Anyways, draw cards. Next up after that is Rishkar's expertise. Look, I'm already going ahead. I was trying to make this a fast video. I just need to slow down. So right now we're gonna slow it down. Rishkar's expertise. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. You may cast a spell with mana value 5 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So, just depending on what I have, it could be 0 with my Walls of Bossing say, but normally with Rishkars, it's a 4 and 2 green. I'll have other stuff out. So, depending on what I have, if I have constructs out, cool. But I love the aspect of anything value 5 or less from my hand without paying its mana cost, just to trigger Simulacrum. Synthesizer is real nice. So, yeah. Sky Shroud Claim. Search my library for up to 2 forest cards, put them onto the battlefield, and shuffle. Like I said, I'm going for the breeding pool or basic forest, and then I just get to put them onto the battlefield, not tapped or anything. So it's real nice. Then Thoughtcast. Affinity for artifacts, cost 1 less, draw 2 cards. Again, card draw is huge. I think a lot of people miss that aspect of, hey, you do need to draw cards. in any way that you can, in whatever way you can. So, yeah, podcast ways for me to draw a card. So yeah, those are the sorceries. I have 10 of them in here. Again, it's a mixture of blue and green ways of ramping, ways of drawing cards and getting stuff out. So it's real nice. Now again, I'm a blue player, so yes, I gotta have some instants in here. But not. I really don't have. Oh, I have 2 counters. Wow, great. But I have 9 instants in here. Um, so let's talk about them. An offer you can't refuse. It's a one cost but counter target non-creature spell. Its controller creates 2 treasure tokens. Any way that I can stop an artifact or anything like that. I think I used this when Zane played Boom Pile, which is if it taps, it destroys everything. Um, so I of course I countered that. He created 2 treasures, which gave him a hand on that when he's playing Is It, but any way to keep my stuff out there was real nice. So, Beast Within, destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token. Beast creature token. Yeah. If I see a problem, I'm gonna deal with it. The fact that this is in green, cool. And normally I'm like the way I word it, I like to be like, "Hey, I know I'm destroying this, but look what you get, buddy. You get a beast. Isn't that cool? Don't swing at me." They normally swing at me because I got rid of their engine, but cool. I love it. Counterspell, classic. Especially of Urza, I can tap artifacts to counter something. Oh, love it. And then, like I mentioned before, I have Cyclonic Rift. This is huge, especially for the overload cost of changing return target non-land permanent don't control to its owner's hand to return each non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. So great board wipe, great way for me to come in and swing out. So real nice. Desynchronization. 2 and 2 blue. Return each non-land permanent that's not historic to its owner's hands. So artifacts, legendary sagas are historic. This is an artifact deck. I'm gonna have artifacts. Most of the time, people have artifacts, and legendaries, but not as many as what I have. So it's real nice. And I think even my non-artifacts are legendary. Like Emery's legendary. I think everything else. Yeah, Ovia's legendary, Padim's legendary, and then Urza's legendary. So yeah, it's a great way for me to keep my stuff and get rid of some things. So nice. Growth Spiral, Simic. Draw a card. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Just a great way for me to ramp still. If I was like, hey, I need one more to do this, or hey, I need to start growing my board state, set me up for next turn, I'll do this. But yeah, it's a great way to ramp, especially early on. So nice. Negate. Oh, I guess I have 3 counters in here. Counter target non creature spell. For 2. Don't touch my stuff. Essentially, I'm a classic blue player. I remember I had a mono blue deck in when I first started. Not commander, but it was a standard deck, and it was pure counter spells, like pure counters, and I called it Nope. It was so nice. I miss that deck sometimes. I have some of the cards. Anyways, next up, hybridization. Anyways, it's a 1 cost destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. So yeah, X creature's controller puts a 3/3 green frog lizard creature token onto the battlefield. It's kind of like the Beast Within, but in blue, and it costs just 1. But it can be regenerated aspect is huge. Um, just so that way I can be dealing with the problem. So yeah, nice. Now to me, this is probably an underrated Edge of Eternity's card that I don't see a lot of play. That I don't see people like hyping up all too much. Now it is a 4 cost card, but it's a tutor as well as graveyard recursion. And that's Scour for Scrap. Um, it's an instant, like I said, for 4. It's 3 in a blue. Search your library for an artifact card, any artifact card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And but you can choose one or both. Return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. So yeah, you get to go tutor and bring a card back from your graveyard to your hand. Now the hand part I understand, but it's better than putting it on the top or just leaving that artifact card in your graveyard. So to me, Scour for Scrap, when I saw this in my bulk, I was like, wow, this is actually really nice. To me, is a completely underrated card. So, and it's an uncommon too from Edge of Eternities. Costs $1. Super underrated. Super underrated. So yeah, that's the instance. I have 9 of them. Like counters, board wipes, ramp. Nice ways to ramp. So yeah, real fun stuff. Now to the actual artifacts. I have a lot of artifact creatures, but as far as artifacts, I have 14. Okay. Um, there there's a lot of low cost in here, mostly for ramp and whatnot. But I'm depending on my creatures to trigger Simulacrum Synthesizer. Um, but yeah, let's get into the artifacts. So right off the rip, we got Arcane Signet. Very classic tap, add 1 mana of any color. After that, Lightning Greaves. Equipped creature has haste and shroud, and it's equipped 0. So it's a 2 cost, equipped 0. I can just be bouncing this around. Now abilities, the ability aspect or the shroud aspect is harder, but normally I'm just using it for the haste, moving it, So more for my tokens than anything else. Regala's Wrath, or better known as Tarian Soul Cleaver. Torian Soul Cleaver. Leave me alone. I can't read. But this equipped creature has vigilance. Whenever another artifact or creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature. So if anything dies, anything like that, anything gets board wiped or whatever, I get to put a +1/+1 counter on it. The most important aspect to me is the vigilance, especially if I can swing with a big construct and it not tap. I have a blocker, so that's what I like about it. It is a 1 cost, so I can go tutor for it with Urza Saga or Tezzeret, but yeah, most of the time I'm going to be grabbing this card, Sensei's Divining Top. Yeah, I have one of those. I know, but one, look at the top 3 cards of my library, put them back in any order, and then I can tap, draw a card, then put Sensei's Divining Top on top of its owner's library. I did get to an aspect of where I was doing that swinging, discovering into it because I wanted the card that was coming next instead of discovering for it. So that kind of was lackluster on my part. Just had a few misplays like that, just because I forgot I put it on top. But overall, being able to see what I can discover into is huge, and letting me pick what I want. So, Sensei's Divining Top, going into a lot of decks, unfortunately, because we do have that rule: if you own it, you get to proxy it. So, I already ordered the proxies, going into a lot of decks. Anyways, Simic Signet. Why not have the Signet in this one? I get to add the 2 because I can use that with Soul Ring. I can use it with one of my other cards that I have coming up. But yeah, any way to add the color, especially for low cost, huge in my aspect. Huge in my opinion. Huge in my opinion. Dude, words are hard recording this video. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. The amount of times I reshot the intro is crazy. I would get like 5 minutes in and I would like mess up. Too bad I'm 40 minutes in and I'm not going to redo it. So even though edited probably might be shorter. Shut up. Anyways, Next up, Simulacrum Synthesizer, the game changer for this one. Now you're probably seeing the base copy, but the one I have is the big score, um, full art border, full art showcase, whatever you want to call it. Um, Huge. Actually, shout out to one of my LGSs for giving me the upgrade. Um, you know, I go in there, I buy a lot of cards. They're like, hey, let's give them an upgrade. Super thankful. Love them to pieces. But yeah, guys, it was real nice. Now Zane was pissed when he saw it. Let's just say that. But yeah, when Simulacrum Synthesizer enters the battlefield, scry 2, and then whenever another artifact with mana value 3 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, create a 0/0 colorless construct with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. I'm going to create a bunch of robots. That is my plan. Have a robot army and just swing. Just start swinging and then just start discovering. Here's the thing. When I swing, I discover if it's higher, then guess what? I get to create another artifact. I get to create another construct, which will be able to block. So it's super nice. Or I can attach his sorcery suite. Never mind. I was gonna say, or I can attach Greaves. Never mind. It's yeah, it gets nasty. Then after that, common Soul Ring. Tap at 2. Now this is where um it gets out of hand. So I added a Strionic Resonator. 2 tap, copy target, triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for that copy. Simulacrum Synthesizer is a triggered ability. It's going to trigger twice. I get to create 2 robots. Two robots. Yeah, you're already putting the math together. Super nasty. I'm going to create an army. It's going to be sick. Right after that, Swiftfoot Boots has hexproof and haste. Anyways, I can give new robots haste. Talisman of Curiosity. Why not put a talisman? You have the signet. Put the talisman in there. Tap, add colorless, or tap, add green or blue, and it deals 1 damage to me. I could lose life for some fun. The value in that is just through the roof. Anyways, Thought Vessel. Just another way for me to rant, but also you have no maximum hand size. So with the machine, if I'm able to draw a bunch of cards, as well as Rishkar's expertise, I get to keep the cards. So no maximum hand size is nice, I will say. Thran Dynamo after that, a 4 cost, so trigger Simulacrum, and I get to tap, add 3 colorless. So again, any ways that I can activate the Signet or trigger Simulacrum Synthesizer, I'm going to do it. Now here's where it gets even nastier. Unwinding Clock. 4, untap all artifacts you control during each other player's untap step. Hey, we're gonna do this. It's Seedborn Muse. I should add a Seedborn Muse. Nope, not an artifact creature. But Unwinding Clock lets me untap all artifacts. All artifacts. Good thing I have artifact lands. Unwinding Clock. I love artifacts. That's probably one thing y'all don't know. I'm huge on artifacts. Huge on artifacts. Oh, I'm working on a Brea deck. A surprise. Urza is my boy. Love artifacts. Ooh. Let's just keep going before I Uthros Research Craft. Space Station from Edge of Eternities has whenever it gets stationed to 3, whenever you cast an artifact spell, draw a card. Put a charge counter on the spacecraft. That's cool. But guess what? When I get to 12, has flying. It's a 0/8, but the spacecraft gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. It's nice. It's real nice because then I can get up to, because essentially station is you're putting the charge counters on there. So I get to play something, draw a card, get close to the 12. Play something, draw a card, get close to the 12. To where when it hits the 12, it's +1/+0. So I could have a 12/8 coming at you. That's flying. Artifacts, baby. They're real nice. With this being a rare too, is real nice. An Edge of Eternity is a little harder to find. It was a little harder to find, but is worth it. Trust me. Trust me. So yeah, guys, the artifacts. I have 14 artifacts, and those are it. Technically, you can count the spacecraft as an artifact creature, but without it being stationed, it's not. It's just a normal spacecraft, kind of like vehicles. So yeah. Now you're probably wondering, wow, you have a lot of great cards. Let me guess, you're playing blue, Ristic Study. I don't have a Ristic Study. What is wrong with you? I'm not a monster. I am a monster, but not in this deck. It's all about artifacts. I don't care about drawing cards as much as I do care about drawing cards, but not with no. I don't. Ristic Study's not in this deck, guys. As much I thought about it, I kept going back and forth just because I am a blue player. I love Ristic Study, even though it was almost banned. I love Ristic Study, but it just doesn't work in this deck. Yes, the card draw aspect is huge, but there was other stuff that I wanted to add. I would have to get rid of another artifact. I don't want to do that. I love what I have, and it's been working. So, but I do have 3 other enchantments in here. So, let's talk about them. We have Garrux, however you say it, Uprising. When it enters, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Boom. Most importantly, creatures you control have trample. Imagine a 15/15 robot coming at you with trample. Yeah, it's nasty. Super nasty. I love it. And then whenever a creature you control with power 4 or greater enters, draw a card. So, I don't believe this gets triggered with Simulacrum because technically when it comes in, when the construct comes in, it is a 0/0. So it's entering as a 0/0 and then getting the counters. So it doesn't come in that way, but I do have a lot of other cards that come in, a lot of other artifacts that are power 4 or greater that will trigger it. So I may be wrong about that. If I'm wrong about that, let me know down below in the comments. Next up, Simic Ascendancy. Ascendancy. Yeah, I said that right. 1 in Simic, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Here we go. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on a creature you control, put that many growth counters on Simic Ascendancy. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Simic Ascendancy has 20 or more growth counters on it, you win the game. Did someone say alternate win con? Yes, this is a win condition. I have won with Simic Ascendancy before. Ask Zane. He's mad. Don't ask him. He hates me because I won this way. He doesn't hate me. He loves me. But he was pissed when I played this card and I won this way. Yeah. Simic Ascendancy is nasty. Especially with Simulacrum Synthesizer. I create a construct. Guess what? I have 17 artifacts. Boom. 17 growth counters on it. I can pay a bunch of mana to keep putting counters and have 20 to where next turn I win the game. And a lot of people don't play enchantment removal, so yeah. After that, Thopter Spy Network. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control an artifact, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. Just love creating tokens, but this also gives me blockers for flyers if I don't have Cyber Drive Awakener or other aspects. I'm able to take care of the flyers. So, and then whenever 1 or more artifact creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. That's huge. I love card draw. Y'all know that. This is Ristic Study for artifacts. Shut up. Anyways, those are the 3 enchantments I have. Again, they all do something. I have an alternate win condition. I'm able to create tokens. So also adds more to the construct count with those Thopters because they do count their artifacts, so they count as a count. So It's real nice. Now we come to my favorite parts where I go through the lands rapid fire style. That was awesome. But yeah, guys, here we go. We got. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna spend a little bit of time on them. We got Academy Ruins. Tap, add a waste. 1 in a blue. Tap, put target artifact card from your graveyard on top of your library. Graveyard recursion for artifacts. After that, Archway of Innovation. It does come in tapped unless I control an island. I control islands. Tap, add an island or island and next. The next spell you cast this turn has Improvise, which means my artifacts can help cast a spell by essentially convoking it for that cost. Except it cuts from the colorless aspect. So yeah. Breeding Bowl, dual land, Buried Ruin, tap to add waste. Or 2 in that, sacrifice Buried Ruin, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Another way to bring an artifact back. Command Tower, we know. Darksteel Citadel. It's indestructible. It's an artifact land. Add 1 to your mana pool. Funny enough, this adds to the artifact count. A lot of people don't realize that. It's an artifact land. Dreamroot Cascade enters unless I control 2 or more other lands. I will. Forest, but not just any forest. You're seeing a basic forest, but the actual forest in here is the beautiful that I have fallen in love with. And I knew I wanted them from the get-go, but now that I have them and they're in decks, the Theros Full Art Galaxy lands. Oh, these are my all-time favorite full art lands. One of my LGSs has hundreds of them. I buy them. So, yeah. After that, Hinterland Harbor comes in tapped unless I control a forest or island. Island. Again, Theros Full Art Basic Land. It's pretty. Rejuvenating Springs. Reliquary Tower. Another way to have maximum hand size. I'm going to draw a lot of cards, hopefully. Rogue's Passage. You're going to get Infect. Seed of Synod. Another artifact land, but it taps for blue. Simic Growth Changer. Bounce land. Why not? Temple of Mystery. I'm going to scry. It's going to be good. Tree of Tales. Artifact land, but it's green. Urza Saga. For those of you who don't know what Urza Saga is, let me go down below. This is a Saga land or enchantment land. Use first chapter. Urza Saga gains tap, add a colorless. Super nice. Its second chapter, tap. Urza Saga gains 2, tap it. Create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. The constructs come early. It's real nice. Guess what? If I have Simic Growth Chamber in Urza Saga, I'm going to play it and bounce it back. Oh, it's tapped. Yeah. I was going to say, I could. There's a way. Shut up. Leave me alone. Anyways, I bounce it back. Ooh, I could bounce this back if I have other cards. Anyways, then it's last chapter. Search your library for an artifact card with mana cost 0 or 1. Put it onto the battlefield and shuffle. Now, normally I could grab an artifact land, but I don't like to do that. I like to go for my Sensei's Top or my Soul Ring. It's just great ramp. But before I do, I create another robot with it. Just because the chapters go on, you don't lose that chapter. So whenever I hit the third chapter, I'm supposed to sacrifice after 3. So instead, right when I hit the third chapter in response, I'll tap it, create a robot, go search. So another way to add some funness to it. Uthros Titanic God Core. This land enters tapped. Tap, add an island. Or I can station it a blue and tap, add blue for each artifact you control. It's a pseudo Tellurian Academy. It's nasty. Yeah, I pulled this in. I pulled this right off the rip with Edge of Eternities. I think in my pre-release kit, honestly. Or I have 2 of them. I had 2 of them. Have to? I put one in this deck, something like that. Yeah, it's super fun, super nasty. Gets out of hand. But tap, add a bunch of mana. Sure, why not? After that, Vine Glimmer Snarl. When it enters the battlefield, reveal a card. It doesn't come in tap. And then I put a Verge land in here. I know, Nate. I know. Willow Rush Verge, the Simic Verge. I love it. And then you have a Maya Coast tap, or it's essentially Talisman of Curiosity, but land form. It's nice. So, but yeah, guys, that is my Alloy deck. Like I said, it's starting to become one of my favorites to play, just because it renewed my love for artifacts. Now, granted, I still love dragons. I still love slivers. I'm still a problem. Yeah. But anyways, I hope you get to take a look at the Moxfield. I'll have it linked down below in the description, so that way you can see the different cards I have in it. Super fun. I love it. If you're thinking about building an Alloy deck, here's your chance to copy what I did. And like I said, my main goal is to create a bunch of constructs and just have fun with it. Have a robot army and swing wide. So yeah, guys, I hope you liked the video. Leave a like on it, hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications, all that fun stuff. Our future videos are going to be sick. You're going to have more interviews. You're going to have gameplays are coming up like soon. I'm actually working on or finalizing getting all the stuff, the area, all that cool stuff like that. But yeah, guys, first off, just want to thank y'all for the support so far. It's been super fun, super awesome. We love y'all. We appreciate every single one of y'all. And yeah, guys, we'll catch y'all on the next one.